How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and tonight we have a collection update to do of the punk and metal variety, starting off with something that isn't quite mine. The wife and I picked this up mostly for the wife, but I figured I'd show it here since it is metal, still technically of some sorts. If you classify alternative metal or gothic metal, metal. If not, well, I'm showing it anyways. So what I'm talking about is Mother by In This Moment. It is their latest full-length album from 2020, being their 7th album. In This Moment are from California, USA, and started in 2005. Other than this, they have 6 other albums previously to this, and this album, in my opinion, isn't the greatest by any means. Of the last couple that have came out, being Blood and the one that came out before this, it'll be here. This album has 3 covers on it and 2 interludes, 1 intro and 1 interlude. So out of the 14 tracks that are on this, 9 are actual songs by the band themselves, written by the band themselves. So yeah, you're not really getting too much new material on this album. 9 tracks. They're, around 5 minutes each. But if you were expecting 14 new tracks, this isn't exactly it. And there's only 1 or 2 maybe semi-heavy songs in this. The in-between is probably the heavier one. Maybe As Above, So Below, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, this is mostly a mid-paced, kind of melodic, alternative metal album. Not anywhere near as heavy as Blood or the one before and after that. So if you're looking for like that heavier In This Moment, this isn't really it. But the wife enjoys it, and there are a couple of covers on here. One being Fly Like an Eagle, which is a very interesting melodic metalcore gothic metal take on the classic song. And there's also a We Will Rock You cover on here that also has Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm and Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless. So that was interesting that those 3 teamed up and did a track together. And then I believe Hunting Grounds or Lay Me Down, one of those 2, is another cover. But yeah, overall, this is a mostly forgettable album in my opinion. It doesn't bring anything crazy to the table or all that new to the table for In This Moment. If you're hoping for more like Black Widow, Blood type of In This Moment, again, not it. But it's okay. Check it out if you want to. Moving on to something that actually is crazily heavy and still has female fronted vocalists. You saw this in my EXO skate shop unboxing, but I didn't really talk too much about where they're from or anything. So this is Butcher Babies with their 3rd album, Lilith. If you don't know who Butcher Babies are, they are a kind of alternative metal, metalcore, really down-tuned, heavy-ass guitars with female growl screaming going on, from California, USA as well, and they started in 2009. Besides this, they also have 2 other albums and 2 EPs. Not really much to show on the disc, just that kind of green skull looking thing. And that also appears on the back with the track list. But yeah, Butcher Babies, basically these 2 former porn stars, I think, former Playboy bunnies, decided to start a metal band with a few of these dudes. And it's sort of a gimmick, but sort of not at the same time. If you've seen some of their early shows, they're walking around half naked with basically a bikini bottom and like pasties. So there's definitely a gimmick there. Some of the band members do wear masks and face paint and weird like robes and shit. They're definitely not for everyone thematically And if you're just a classic metalhead, if you're into just thrash and black metal and new album and stuff like that, Butcher Babies isn't going to be for you. It's got those crazy 7/8 string down-tuned guitars and growling and screaming. It kind of sort of sounds like deathcore, but it isn't deathcore. It is labeled as alternative metal and metalcore and new metal even at points, but yeah, it's just heavy ass guitars with two female vocalists doing growling and screaming on it. It's all right. I enjoy some of the songs. It does get a bit repetitive after a few. There's maybe one or two tracks on here that really stand out. I'd say their older albums are probably better than this for just memorability and catchiness. But if you are interested in, like, once again, heavy ass down-tuned guitar riffs and, you know, female growls and screaming, you might check it out and you might enjoy it. Otherwise, maybe leave it alone. But yeah, we also picked this one up. All right, so the next album comes to me from a fellow YouTuber by the name of Gormac, who I know in real life as Paul Guppy. I saw that he was listing this album on eBay, and I decided to hit him up and ask, hey, how much do you want for that? And he's like, don't worry about it, I'll send it to you for free. And I am more than grateful for this, because I've been looking for more albums by this band. So thanks a lot, Gormac. Go check out his channel. I'll have links in the description box below. But he threw me Municipal Waste's Massive Aggressive album. Thank you so much, Paul, for that. Really, really appreciate it. This is a way better album than Slime and Punishment, so I'm definitely enjoying this much more. And if you don't know Municipal Waste, they are a crossover thrash band that started in 2001 from Virginia, USA. They have 5 other albums and 2 EPs. Again, their earlier stuff is definitely the better stuff. This is their 4th album, and after this starts to kind of go downhill a little bit. The new albums are still good, just not as good as their old stuff. So definitely happy to have Massive Aggressive in my collection. Going to be picking up the other albums eventually, but yeah, thank you, Paul, for giving this to me and being so generous. I hope you all go check out his channel. He posts usually metalhead unboxings, but he'll do the odd collection update or review, I think, as well. So yeah, Massive Aggressive from 2009, excellent 4th album by Municipal Waste, excellent crossover thrash from Virginia. All right, moving on to something that you're probably going to have to expect from the next collection update or two, and you've already seen them on here a few times, and these 2 projects are as follows. The first one being the Frankenstein Drag Queens from Planet 13, and this album is their 2nd one, called Songs from the Recently Deceased. Sadly, this is a digibook, so I'm gonna have to take extra care of this thing to not get wrecked. These are not super duper easy to come by either, and you're not gonna pay the usual like 15 or 16 bucks plus shipping. You're gonna be paying a little bit more. But I am glad I have this. The Frankenstein Drag Queens are an excellent project by Wednesday 13 from the Murder Dolls, and of course his solo project Wednesday 13. This is from back in the old days though. Frankenstein Drag Queens started back in 1996 and are a horror punk band with the odd metal element here or there. Yeah, came from North Carolina. They have 3 other albums besides this. I think I've shown off 2 on this channel already. So happy to get this one finally and add to my collection. This one has some pretty decent songs. Hooray for Horrorwood, which eventually became Dead in Hollywood for the Murder Dolls. Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Bride of Frankenstein, Back in Blackula, which is funny because the most recent Rob Zombie album had a song with the Blackula character in it, The Satanic Curse of Blackula or something like that, Satanic Rites of Blackula. And of course, one of the other reasons I wanted to get this is it has one of the first versions of the song I Love to Say Fuck. You can see it here at the bottom. But yeah, this is an early Frankenstein Drag Queens version of that track. So glad to have a version of that song in my collection finally. Really, really good track. Very funny. So yeah, That's the second album by Frankenstein, Drag Queens from Planet 13. Pretty cool project. I wish I could track down some Maniac Spider Trash. I know I say it in every one of these videos that has a Wednesday 13 project in it, but that's a really good project. His first band. Shame none of those albums never really got printed. There's one, I think Dumpster Mummies got repressed, and then there's like a compilation that's out there, but yeah, I probably won't be able to get a copy of it. If you have a copy and want to sell me one for a reasonable price, definitely hit me up. Check out Frankenstein Drag Queens if you have not yet. All right, moving on to Wednesday 13 solo project and another album I picked up by him, the Dixie Dead. This is actually a really, really good album, and it is the fifth in the Wednesday 13 solo project, released 2013. There's the track listing there, if I can get it to show up. Wednesday 13 started after the Murder Dolls kind of called it quits after the second album, Women and Children Last, so 2004. He went back to North Carolina, USA to form this solo project as well. Besides this, there's 7 other LPs and 3 EPs to get if you're interested. Wednesday 13, again, mostly just really cool horror punk with horror metal elements here and there. Mix Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson together. It's basically what you get for this project, but its own special little twist as well. Lots of horror movie references, a lot of tongue-in-cheek lines. This album has some pretty good tracks on it too, like Bloodsucker. I have the back patch that goes along with that song on one of my leather jackets. Get Your Grave On, Hail Ming, which I hilariously sometimes call Hail Me. And then kind of like a neat solemn song called Carol Ann, They're Here. But yeah, so pretty good album, pretty good mid-discography album by Wednesday 13. Check it out if you haven't. Some people feel like this is not as great as Calling Our Corpses or the Monsters Come Out and Play, but I still feel a couple of good songs on here for sure. Check it out if you haven't. And the last thing on here is something that I haven't really talked about on this channel that much. I did a giant mindless self-indulgence collection video way back when in my playlist that says my mainstream music collection. But yeah, so after the most recent mindless self-indulgence album, How I Learned to Say Fuck It and Love Mindless Self-Indulgence, or whatever it's called, the one with the coffin on the front, Jimmy Urine, the main dude from Mindless Self-Indulgence, did a couple of things on his own, and one of those ended up being this. Yeah, this is the self-titled Uringer album by Jimmy Urine that was released in 2018. Has some really, really funny tracks on it, some pretty decent composed songs. There's some odd filler here and there, but mostly a pretty decent album. That's a weird background. But yeah, this is also not to be confused with The Secret Cinematic Sounds of Jimmy Urine album. That's actually a different project and slightly different sound than this Uringer album, which is his actual last name. He goes by Jimmy Urine, but his actual name is James Uringer, I believe. So yeah, check this out if you haven't. It's basically like MSI with a little bit more experimentation into riffs and song structure and stuff like that. It's not quite as ADD or hyperactive as Mindless Self-Indulgence, but it's basically a B-sides sounding Mindless Self-Indulgence album. Really, really good. A couple of my favorite tracks on here are Problematic, That's How Jimmy Gets Down, The Medicine Does Not Control Me, If It Ain't You, It'll Be Tomorrow, and Do You Kiss Your Mama With That Mouth? Yes, I kiss your mama with that mouth. So yeah, there's some pretty decent tracks on here. Again, there's some filler as well too, but overall, very enjoyable. And if you're a fan of mindless self-indulgence, there should be no reason why you don't enjoy this self-titled Uringer album. But yeah, Jimmy Urine started mindless self-indulgence back in 1997. They released at least 5 or 6 different albums for sure, so check them out. They're pretty interesting electro-punk, kind of like Nintendo core and punk rock mixed without the core part. But then depending on what your idea of core is, it might also be in there. He does like sort of rappy style lyrics and presentation with his vocals sometimes. But yeah, if you're into high energy punk rooted electronic music that just is fun and hilarious and tongue-in-cheek and upbeat, then Mindless Self-Indulgence and this solo Uringer album might be up your alley. Besides this, though, he also did a compilation mashup album with Sergey Tankin from System of a Down called Fucktronic. So if you're interested, check that out on YouTube if I can find it. I might put a link in the description box below if I can remember. And also, Jimmy Urine has composed stuff for different movies and things. One being the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where he made a song called The Unloved Song. And if you want to know where that is in the movie, it's when they're at the planet Contraxia scene. And he also plays a Ravager by the name of Half Nut in the movie. So if you can spot that character, Jimmy is in the movie and released a song for that movie. It's not on the soundtrack, but it is a song you could probably look up, again, called The Unloved Song. There's another word in another language first, and then in brackets it says The Unloved Song, but something else to check out. And Jimmy Urine has also been in a project called The Left Rights, and his wife is in a band called Morningwood. So there's a lot of things surrounding Jimmy Urine and his projects. So if you're into mindless self-indulgence, or you listened to them in high school, maybe check out all the other project that he's into. I believe he also had a hand in working with Tubring and Retardobot. Apologies for the name, but that's what it's called. So yeah, lots of things to check out by Jimmy Urine if you're interested. Pretty cool to have this. I laugh my ass off every time I listen to this album. Maybe you'll enjoy it too. So that's it. That's all of the albums for this collection update. Let me know which ones you have. Hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on them in the comment section, of course. And if you're still here, half of you that watch this channel aren't even subscribed, so just click that subscribe button so you can get more of my dumbass in your newsfeed every week. Cheers, and thanks for watching. For Glory, for the Rebel Alliance, check them out. Slammerella out.